Hey everybody. Ooh, okay, these ones want to clear. Clearing. All right. Oh, they have to lay right here in the right configuration by my camera. All right. Let's pull a card just to set the tone. But we are going to dive into what the masculines are feeling. Yeah, feeling. Experiencing from a more emotional, heart-based level, what they know they need to clear and process, what they would say to you, Divine Feminine, about that. And then we're going to look at what the Divine Feminines need to know about the real world situation and logistics, what emotions are connected with the feminine process at this time, and what's going on in the quantum. So it's going to be a little bit of a journey here, but let's get one card to begin with. What is the energy that these connections are dealing with at this time? What can we see for the energy that these connections are dealing with at this time? What did we get? Fierce love. Vulnerability is strength. Establish healthy boundaries. So we're teaching each other how to treat us, and we are in a phase of establishing healthy boundaries of respect and honor and all of those things that wonderful, perfect relationship is meant to be based on. Not the stuff that we try to band-aid our way through with karmic situations. This is actual. This is love actually. So fierce love, does not... Again, fierce love doesn't demand that somebody that's not ready, willing, able, and matched for us come into connection with us. It loves anyways, but it doesn't love by stepping over the sovereignty of another person. It has healthy boundaries. So this is a process of setting that tone with these connections. They aren't karmic. Or if they are, this is a good reminder that we don't want to force anything. It's better to be alone than to be in a relationship that isn't actually compatible, that we're trying to make fit the bill. But fierce love here is vulnerability is strength. So this is that safe person. If this is an aligned connection for you, this is the safe person that you can fully be vulnerable with and actually show who you are. And vice versa. Establish healthy boundaries. So you cannot push a person away who is actually on your team of the same frequency, because they get it. They're not going to take offense and be petty and, make it about them. They're going to understand. Love regardless of reciprocation. So even if a person doesn't have it to give at any given time, love anyways. That doesn't mean you have to enmesh and force it to be up close and personal. If it's not reciprocated, respect that. But you don't have to say you were a fool or, this person isn't for me. You don't have to beat yourself up or condemn yourself if somebody at this time doesn't have it to give or doesn't prefer to. Please trust your heart on whether that's temporary or legitimately the way it's going to always be. Your heart does know. Have integrity in all interactions. So there's that integrity piece. Your heart does know whether you're faking something or forcing it or trying to convince it to be there, or if it really is for you. As hard as that is sometimes, our hearts do know, and a lot of times people will tell us to give up too soon when our heart is saying, no, they are my person. And sometimes people will encourage us to work harder on a connection that we in our heart knows it's not for us. You know which it is for you. Everyone is doing their best with the tools they have. That does not mean that you have to put your life on hold for somebody in hopes that they mature or come into it and align with you. You have to manage your energy every step of the way in your highest and best interest. What is truly aligned for you will find its way in that light. That if you're putting yourself first and being authentic and somebody aligns with you that you really adore, yay, that's what we're talking about in sacred union. Transmute fear into love. So be brave, be accountable, be real, be authentic, be honest, and then go for it. Love with all your heart, people. Love with all your heart. And I'm looking at pleasure. Celebrate life, engage your passions. What you seek is seeking you. Love with your whole being. Release control of others and be your own beloved. Okay, so masculines, what can we get into? So thank you, Divine Creator, for using me as a channel of only the highest, most beneficial information coming through. What can we see for the masculines? How are they feeling about the connections at this time? Like, in their feels, what do they actually feel? Like, a lot of you masculines are all stoic, thinking you have to be in toxic masculinity that doesn't feel. Ugh. Vote that off planet Earth. You're allowed to feel masculine. So let's dig into it. Let's look at what the feelings of these masculines are that they are not communicating. What do they need to clear about these feelings in order for these feelings to be honored and safe and expressed and vulnerable? And what would they say to the feminines about this? What do the feminines most need to know about navigating these connections with their amazing, beautiful, wonderful masculines? What are the emotions that the feminines can connect with at this time regarding what we're seeing here, and what's going on in the quantum? What's being transmuted? What's that energetic stuff that we can look at? Okay. How are the masculines feeling about the connections at this time? Ooh, so they know very well that they're tackling their abandonment wounds and their self-sabotage because they have so much freaking love for you, divine feminines. You know, I was just in a session today where the fearful avoidant style was coming up from a client, and they were talking about their runner counterpart and how every time the oxytocin is there in the connection, this runner, a switch flips and the runner doesn't feel safe and zips out of there and sabotages. And you know, it really came through in the in the channeling that this person had an unstable upbringing where they got sucked in, drawn in, and then Jekyll and Hyde. And so they were very sensitive, very traumatized by that, and would hurt my client before my client could hurt them. That's a common and very specific scenario, but there are variants of that kind of thing. And you know, when we are traumatized that way, there is a knee-jerk reaction to hurt before we're hurt. But it's also patterning where our caregivers possibly showed us and modeled to us that that's what someone who loves us behaves like. And so we hurt the ones we love the most in some cases. But the neat thing about these connections is they won't come in, these runners, if this applies. Now, this is not going to be everybody's story. And it's not everybody who has that tendency is in an aligned connection. However, for these connections, I want to tell you that these masculines typically won't harm the feminine with that. They will remove themselves before it becomes damaging in the connection. Karmic situations slam into relationships, and it does this thing inside the relationships, and it does a lot of damage. The healing hasn't happened. It hasn't completed before the connections come together, and it's there as a teacher to show these patterns, but it doesn't necessarily result in success. It is harder for those kind of relationships to find success pathways than ones that heal before coming into sacred union. And that is a slight difference I've noticed on these journeys. So anyways, these masculines are aware of their abandonment wounds, their self-sabotage, and the love they feel for you, divine feminine, is greater than their desire to keep acting these cycles out. So they are willing to do the healing for you. They are willing to do that for the connection, you know, for love. They see that they have found this potential for love with you, And it's worth letting go of their known universe in order to continue unfolding into love. What do they need to clear? Lord of material gain. So this is, a card of sovereignty, and it's not that they need to lose themselves into these connections, but they need to lose the idea that they're better off alone. So masculines, you do need to let go of the idea that it's safer to be alone, or that you're never going to really truly be seen and heard for who you actually are. All of those things, all of that defense mechanism, the stoicism, all of the lower vibrational interpretations of this isolated, like I'm better on my own. Now, it is important that we don't come into connections if somebody can't offer us something of value in way of true connection. If we're just keeping someone around so we're not alone, that isn't going to be a productive solution. There's a difference between having a solid high standard and fencing people out and not letting the right person get close. And so that's what I'm seeing here, is this tendency to not let the right person get close. I'm not saying the masculines need to drop their boundaries and let everybody in and stop being so isolated. There is wisdom in sensitive people having particular self-love boundaries. But in this case, they need to clear hedging the divine feminine out and start to see how it is different when it's love. What would the masculine say? If I asked you to stay, would you leave? This is in the inverse. So I'm really looking at them and their own tendency to run. It's something like, if I want to stay, why do I run? Is what I'm getting from this. So the masculines are right now looking at this knee-jerk reaction, like, why is it with this perfect for me person, why does this bring this out in me? Why does this connection bring that out in me? I feel it's so that they can feel it to heal it and see it for what it is with safety. These things can only come up when it's safe to do so. And these connections do bring safety. What do the feminines need to know about this? The star. So this is happening for your masculine right now. The star in the upright means awaiting in the future. And in the inverse like this, it's right now. You might be losing hope. The star in the inverse can also be a card of losing hope. But what I'm getting here is, it's darkest before the dawn. Some of you might think that your masculine is gone for good right now. And when you least suspect it, they are really like, something's got to give. I am adding so much drama into this connection with the one person that I love more than anybody that I've ever connected with. And so right now, feminines, your masculine is looking at this. Blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. So feminines, you might be feeling right now like you have never been more equipped to balance yourself out while your masculine, takes some space. This might have been a repeat cycle in your connection and a testing of sorts. And you might be tempered to the degree that you're feeling more stable than ever, like you're not sweating it like you maybe did in the past when you might have taken it more personally. And so while you're coming to the realization that your happiness does not depend on if your masculine is coming or going, hot and cold, running or ghosting, or, needing space, I'm being told, pay attention, side note, pay attention to the progress. If you can track healing that has played out over these cycles as this connection stands the test of time, if it's getting worse, remove yourself. If you can see actual progress and genuine healing and genuine, up-leveling and differences between these cycles that are feeling lighter, feeling better, obviously stay with it. It's healing. It's might be slow going, but it's healing. It's laying a foundation, and it's probably worth sticking by. But your masculine is also taking accountability for their well-being by not putting this stuff on you anymore. And when you get to a stage of knowing your worth, feminines, and your masculine goes through these cycles, you will be able to hold your own without taking it personally. And therefore, their acting out, their theatrics, their pain, whatever you want to call it, that's not genuine to them, that they're just, expressing, they're left with nothing but to see through their own illusions. If you don't co-create that cycle with them, they're left holding it and knowing it's theirs. Now, this does not mean you poking at it or condemning them for it. It means knowing your worth and just holding space and not being reactionary, not, facilitating it by overcompensating, You take responsibility for your well-being, and by doing that, they have no recourse but to see what is in their bucket. And so it's a beautiful thing if it's done with compassion. What is the energetic card? Spiral of life, movement, opening, and unfolding. So letting it unfold naturally. This is the process of unwinding, unfolding, blossoming into the connection together. This is sacred, safe space where people can truly be themselves with each other. And these illusions can come up and be aired. They can be seen for what they are. They can be demonstrated. And they can be released. When safety is here, they don't need apply to these connections anymore. And both can sort of off-gas these pent-up, held programs. But the other doesn't have to take it personally. And so much transmutation can happen when we keep that record straight and we don't engage with other people's drama. No condemnation there, but that's what it is. If it's not the core of love, it's not genuine. And it's a imprinting, it's a trauma, it's a learned behavior, it's a response to trauma, but it's not our core of love. And so, the masculines are truly feeling the emotions, the love, more good than bad here. The Ten of Swords is in the inverse, which means they're overcoming it. And this King of Cups is so much love that they have, adoration for the way that you play off each other, the way you mirror, the way you compassionately show each other exactly the things that each of you need to see. So, your masculine is feeling that resilience beyond the acting out, beyond these patterns and cycles. This is cracking the code of these isolating tactics, the running tactics, the projections of blame and victim. There's something here falling. The masculines are seeing this. So feminines, yes, you've done so much work to hold sacred space for your masculine to realize they don't need to go there with you. What can we see for how the masculines are feeling about their feminine? Oh, they're dropping the guard. They are looking at you. This is the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. Like the feeling I'm getting here, because there's a barmaid with alcohol, I'm presuming, and dropping the guard, it's like they're defenseless around you. You're their temptation, but they don't have the will to go towards the temptation. And if they were to go towards you now, it would be more of a temptation. And so there's sort of a concession here where the masculines are realizing, checkmate, that they have found their match and that you are the one that calms their fire in the best possible way. Also, ignites them, this emotional balance that's coming in. this reality check. You have offered them a checkmate reality check. And they know that if they were to come towards you before they do this stabilizing, this healing, before they muster their courage or balance their energy, that it would be premature. I'm getting that here. So they're not wanting to push against what is appropriate here. They don't want to cheapen the connection, but they don't want to hedge you out anymore. This is a card of like perseverance, wounded warrior, like not right now. This is allowing the energy to come in, but without forcing anything. So they are finding this edge right now. What are they clearing regarding you? Ace of Wands. Wow. Okay, so this is the lust. It's like breaking a stallion, I just heard. So yeah, the masculines are realizing there is far deeper, more cosmic, more sensual, more eternal, more luscious love to be had in safety than in a lust-filled guilt, shame cycle, or anger, passion, irresponsibility, recklessness, toxic sensuality. They're beginning to see that they can put down instant gratification and that it's safe to trust and to deepen the sexual impulse. It's like they're peeking out of a new layer of understanding and now genuinely curious what safety and intimacy would truly be like. What would they say? I can't even look at you right now. You've blown their mind, is all I've heard here. They can't look at you right now because they are going through a revelation where they are seeing themselves change overnight, I just heard. Like it's just done a 180 inside of them. All of the ways that they were looking at love and connection and you and them and this connection has just done a flippy floppy. What do the feminines need to know about this? Three of Swords. It's not just you and your masculine, it's the imprinting of the world. It's like the two of you are just tokens compared to this like gutter. This is the way the world does us. And the masculine's starting to see that, you know, what I'm getting here is that there's this beautiful third energy that's created when two come together in love, in healed love. But when people act out from the wounding and everything, the third energy that's perpetuated is this cheap shot from the world. You know, the trauma, the devil energies, the illusion, the wedge. So feminines, it's not your masculine or you know, taking it personally or not. This is what the world does to us. And we don't have to accept that. We can love anyways. We can have that fierce love. The fierce love. Rawr. What is the emotion? Growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So really progress past the idea that it's an eye for an eye, or you're masculine against you, or you against them, or that the two of you just can't get it right. Look at it on a broader scale. And look at the systems. Look at the imprinting of the world. Look at the way that our ego constructs play out with wounding and caution and all of that. Seek to see it that way. What is the energetic? Temple of the Moon Goddess, emotional transparency, nurturance, and grace. Really look at your heart and tell yourself, with all honesty, because it's true, that you don't try to do anything dastardly. If you do, you're really hurting. And you know in your heart of hearts it's not the best way to go, but you don't know what to do with the pain. As we rise, we become more and more effective and appropriate, accountable, compassionate. But when we're honest, we really want love and light. We want that growth. And so, really give that benefit of the doubt, feminines, that we're all desiring that. We all want a core of love. We're not all there. We don't all have the right tools, but we're all wanting that. And so we don't have to enmesh before we actually have that with each other. But we are not, at the end of the day, trying to harm each other. Someone needed to hear that. And in varying degrees, in really subtle degrees, we do forget these kind of things. And so keep bringing it back to love. What can we see for how the masculines are feeling on the heart space about these connections? They are starting to be very grateful. A warmth is growing about the new potentials here. When they stop looking at the past as though they have just been victims and it's all been a waste and that they've totally ruined it all, or that other people have done them dirty and so they never stood a chance anyways, all that stuff is going away, and the masculines are genuinely starting to see a new, greater potential rise. What else can we see? Four of Cups. Yeah. So what they're clearing is the sheepishness, the guilt, shame that keeps them from saying, you know what, I do love you. I want you. I've been done over the wrong way in my life and I've put that on you. I'm sorry. They're clearing that idea that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or human nature can't change, or people can't really forgive. All that is being released because the masculines are actually seeing this path of safety come in and they're feeling it. They are aware of it. What would they say? Do you even see me that way? So they used to be like completely convinced that there's no way that you actually could see the potential in them because they couldn't. Now that they're seeing the potential, they're believing you. They actually understand where you're coming from. They admire you for being able to admire them. It's this beautiful thing now. What do the feminines need to see? 9 of Wands. So now feminines are getting the wounded warrior. So put down the arms, feminines, and really, really comprehend that if this story is resonating, you can put down the guard further too and not have an eye for an eye or get all up in arms. You can also look at how you could soften, how you could be more love, how you don't need to project or, be overly cautious. Just have healthy boundaries and don't delude yourself. It's not that tricky when you actually see what good person at earth is, right? You don't have to be afraid that you're going to be taken advantage of if you have discernment. You can feel whether something is aligned or not, or balanced or right or not. That's on you. If you say no or yes, and it comes back to haunt you, it takes two. You co-created that. You invited it. You voted for it. You allowed it. And so it's not about the other person. It's about you understanding what is coming up inside of you and honoring that without caving and being weak. And really, you don't have to be defensive. You just have to be wise. And this journey is teaching us all how to be wise. What can we see for the emotion? Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Okay, so you're the same as your masculine, but with different challenges. And one of them is not superior or inferior to the other. If you're matched in these kinds of connections, you don't have to, be skeptical or fearful of your person. You just have to see what it is for you and do that transmutation. And that affords compassion to your person. That also helps you regulate your emotions and the rate that you legitimately can move forward in these connections. You don't have to be defensive. You just have to be practical, grounded, realistic, genuine, authentic. It just is what it is at that point. What can we see for the masculines? How are they feeling on the heart space for their feminine? Oh, Ah, beautiful. They see the healing. They see the love. Yeah, this energy has been permeating the rest of the messages, and this is in the heart of heart. They see the healing. They see the love. What are they clearing as a result? The Lord of Defeat. They're clearing this defeatist mentality where they will never be loved. They'll never be able to love. They've ruined it. All that 10 of Swords stuff, they're seeing their side of it. 5 of Swords is half of the 10 of Swords. It does take 2. So the masculines are understanding their side of it. Feminines, lack of receptivity to real love is also a thing for feminines. You can't be jaded. You can't be making masculines pay for the faults of other connections you've previously had. You also have to allow and appreciate the genuine things that your masculine actually does bring to the table when they bring them to the table. If you're jaded, you will not appreciate, and that is not honoring of love. Again, it's not with abusive stuff. This is aligned stuff. Yeah, 5 of Swords. So masculines, you're realizing your point in this. And I just wish things were different. Okay, so masculines have been venting control issues. So this is really feminines. Your masculine gets stressed when they can't get what they want. And that doesn't mean that you're not what they want. That means circumstances, worldly stresses, you name it. Whatever the factors are that have been causing, circumstances that haven't allowed for these connections to kick off the ground yet. The masculines are just wishing things were different there, that things could be smoother, that they could move forward already. This is a bit of impatience or frustration. They go through it too. You're not the only one. And so when they're triggered, when they have these self-sabotaging behaviors, it's literally when they're frustrated that something can't be another way. And, they really start feeling selfish, or they really start feeling like an outcast, or they start feeling like they're defeated. And this is what they're clearing, that it's not the universe singling them out. It's actually that they're starting to see that when they can see something that they wish was different, they can actually be mature and proactive and do something about it. This is a good thing that's coming out in the energy here on the Heart of Hearts. So they're basically saying, when I'm in that high frequency, I know you're my person. I know we love each other. And it's not you. It's my frustration that I can't make it happen differently yet for us. What do the feminines need to know about that? This is your King of Wands. If you're in this reading this far, this is likely your divine counterpart. What is the emotion? Death. I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. So every time these cycles happen in the connection, we just saw that there's some kind of a trigger that happens when the masculines do this push-pull. And so typically it's when they cannot continue going forward and things can't go smoothly for whatever reason. This is when they do this acting out. It's not because they don't want you, feminines. It's because they don't know what else to do than put the brakes on. These endings are merely beginnings, because when the masculines are led to put the brakes on, both go into transmutation, healing, observation, processing, and they work on it behind the scenes, and it moves it forward. What is the energetic here? Freedom, sensitivity, beauty, sensuality. So it's like regrouping, balancing, coming back into center, remembering selves, taking a deep breath. What are the masculines feeling they want to manifest? I just heard they want to get you alone behind closed doors. They want to put in insatiable. I'm getting a very sexual energy from this. Like, without anyone knowing, they just want to get you alone right now. Like, they're really thinking about it. There's a lot of pent-up energy I can feel here that they want to experience releasing with you before everybody knows about the connections. It's like they want you all to themselves for a little while. What are they clearing? Lord of Prudence, Eight of Pentacles. So they're clearing this idea they have to be perfect before this can happen, that their lives have to be perfect. They've wanted you to think that they were perfect, feminines. And this is why they've wished things were different, because they've been projecting that perfectionist thing onto what they imagine you would want of them. They're the ones that have been frustrated that it can't be perfect. So it's not been that you haven't been perfect, feminines. It's been that they have been perfectionists. And they're realizing that life is going to pass them by if they stay rigidly connected to some ideals that aren't authentic, that are contrived for whatever reason, that have meaning and hold certain beneficial angles and information, but it's not really working for them anymore. It's like they've passed that marker of self-discovery and doing the work and waiting. There's something in the energy where they haven't realized that it's good enough now, but their sensual pull is ramping up and they're feeling like they want to go deep. They don't just want a lusty short-term gratification. They know that's not going to be sufficient. For many, there are a few final details that they need to have patience, and if that resonates, both are aware of those things that still need to play out, but there's some anticipation. It's like the masculines are holding back for a certain reason here, and it's a mix of divine timing and bursting through that layer of short-term to eternal. This is that threshold that they're reaching. It's like a critical mass, this prudence, this self-containment, this mastery is coming in, where it has to become all in. It has to be eternal. It has to be monogamous. It has to be you, feminines. Oh, Suki, you're just sneezing away. What are they clearing? The Magus of Power, the Magician. They're clearing this feeling that they can't do it, or that it's not time, or it wouldn't be prudent. What would they say to you? It's on like Donkey Kong. So that's the no in the reverse. So it's going from a no to a it's on. And it happens like that. It reaches this critical mass and they cannot hold back any longer, burning with passion. Eternal flame. What can we see for the feminines here? The Hermit, looking at this hope, looking at the star path. So feminines, stay in your lane. Let your masculine turn this light on, turn this heat on, turn this eternal yes on. What can we see for the emotions? Adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. So feminines, just know that any of the adversity, any of the waiting game, the patience, the frustration, all of it has only caused your masculine's heart to grow fonder. And likewise you as well. This is how, I just heard the tortoise wins the race. This is how it unfolds on a solid foundation. If it were to have come in earlier, sooner, more haphazardly. It would not stand the test of time once it comes in. These connections are showing the patience required to stand the test of time in the foundation of the developmental stages. Yeah, I just said that. Listen to that again. The energetic, subconscious awareness, Akashic information. This is where we become fearless. We blow open the gates of perception, and there is no veil, no barrier between what is and what is possible. Unlimited, boundless. What are the masculines feeling about actions they want to take? They're being divinely guided to keep this all in check until it's right, until they get the go, until they get the green light. So this is like consummation. This is like the big O. This is like the sensual consummation that is ordained. Holy matrimony, sacred union, sacred sexuality, consummation with this eternal all-in. This is the feeling they have about the action they want to take. They don't want to cheapen this connection anymore. These masculines want to come correct. What can we see? Oh, what can we see about what they're clearing? The Knight of Cups, they're surrendering the resistance. They're now wholeheartedly awaiting this inevitable consummation. What would they say to you about it? I feel the same way. So this tells me, feminines, that you have gotten to that place of worthiness where only sacred, intimate connection, true safety, true sexual compatibility, openness, sacred sexuality is available. True safety and intimacy and sacred sexuality is there. And they are telling you they also feel that way for you. What do the feminines need to know? This is the truth. King of Swords, this is the truth, the truth, the truth. What can we see for the emotions? Imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspects of my mind. So I'm hearing feminines, start imagining what you can do to each other, what will be most pleasurable, what safety and intimacy and sacred sexuality means to you. Get creative. Dream it into existence. Download that from the cosmic ethers. Bring it in. Start fantasizing about what that will be like, the goodness. And, ooh, this is manifesting it. Temple of Eventual Destinies, benevolence, spiritual progression, enlightenment. So that's the homework. Really look at what is safety and intimacy and sacred sexuality to you. What would that be like? What's the biggest challenge that the masculines are feeling? Waiting to see how you will receive them. Each time they come forward, what you will say and do. Your masculine is testing your readiness by dipping their toe in the water, and how you respond and how you hold your own and the truth that you sit on tells them that you are ready or not ready. Not there yet, depending on where your standards are. And your masculine, your aligned one, will keep checking in with you here and there to see where you're at. You have so much power in this, divine feminines. What are the masculines clearing in this? King of Pentacles, they're getting rid of their fear of commitment, because this, you knowing yourself and your worth, calms that fear of commitment. Because if you don't let them come in with weak energy, they can trust you. What would they say about this? I'm ready. They're not telling you how ready they are. If they see you ready, that's the requirement here. What can we see? Feminines, you have the ability to pull the strings here by sitting in your truth, by knowing your worth. That is the requirement that allows a masculine to come to you correct. You get to do that. You have control over that, feminines. If you cut corners and you're willing to take breadcrumbs and you settle, you will get something less than the real deal coming correct. Abundance, I'm a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. You hold the key for that, feminines. Dare to dream it into existence. It's not about it just staying out there. This reading is saying it can now come to you. Now, without further haste, ado, it can come now. And path change, paradigm shift, adjustment, know your worth. Include it in your belief now. What can we see for the solution here? Masculine's gone but not gone. Tapping into their intuition, feeling into what their heart is telling them. What are they clearing? There's the hanged one, the hanged man. So they're also clearing the idea that they can't effectively make progress here on their own, that it's dependent on you, feminines. They are also seeing how, it's a chicken and an egg. They can use their intuition to acknowledge that which they want to see and to coax it out and to, cultivate and to appreciate and draw from you that safety, that love by giving to this connection, by spending time, by communicating, by leaning in. And feminines, you can receive and you can hold your own and you can focus on the aspects of your masculine that you wish to experience more of. What would the masculine say? I hope you'll wait for me. So your masculines are saying here they want to be that one that does this dance together, that helps each other change the way we look at relationship and what's happening in these connections, that co-partners here in creating this synergy together. What do the feminines need to know? Keep an open mind. This is the same Three of Wands that the masculines just got. Stay open and aware of your masculine's attempts at coming in. If you project lower vibrational fears into it, you're also going to give off the energy of not being ready. If you are genuinely in an energy of confidence and receptivity and high frequency, you will likely be manifesting and magnetizing a masculine in that ready energy coming towards you. What can we see for the emotions? Worry. I understand that worry doesn't change an outcome. So don't worry, that's in the inverse. Take worry out of it and read the energy. And know, rather than worrying and guessing and fearing, tune in, tap in, feel into it. You'll know if it's authentic or not. What can we see for the energetics? Perspective, ideals, and belief. Chamber of illumination. So things are becoming clear, evident, easier to read. When we clear worry out of it, we kind of get our bearings. We're much more practical. We're much more apt to be able to be sober to what is really there. Worry is like a drug, a bad drug, because it stops us from seeing what is. Sure, we can go into inflated limerence and all of that and not see what is as well. But worry doesn't change an outcome. It just distracts us from seeing what is there so we can actually make decisions or not. Worry for worry's sake or just as a bad habit or an addiction, that's like ego on red alert. Trauma does that to us. It is a work in progress to back ourselves out of that worry corner. But we can do it. These journeys help us. Doing the inner healing work helps us. Stay open to what will come, feminines. What are the masculines feeling will come next? Truth. This is communication from both sides. I think masculines are still a little bit too fearful that the feminines are too much in their anxiety still. So I'm getting here that there's going to be some communication, and that some feminines are still going to be too much in their anxiety, wanting the masculines to save the day and to free them from it. And those masculines are going to realize that their connections aren't ready to kick off yet. But other couples will see eye to eye right now. And those are the ones that are going to start having harmonious long-term success here. So I'm reading for two distinct groups here. One, where the connections are not stabilized enough for the anxiety to be balanced yet. That's okay. It does come in cyclical, evolutionary patterns. And then there is a whole group who are ready for seeing eye to eye. And the Ace of Swords again. What are the masculines clearing? Thinking that they have to know all the answers and then present it to the feminines. It's a two-way street. It's a shared thing. It takes two. So the masculines are clearing that they have to be perfect. Oh, and you are right in the inverse. So it's not so much just one person being all right or not right at all. It's both. So in the inverse, the masculines are now saying it's not just the feminines' gospel, like the feminines that wear the pants in the family, and it's not all the stoic masculines that have to figure it all out on their own, and then they're just in this isolation hell. It's two. It's both. What would they say? Oh, hang on. What do the feminines need to know? The sun. The sun is coming out. So yeah, either this enlightenment is bringing highlight to the anxiety you have, feminines. If you really are still in this much anxiety, not all hope is lost, but you do need to get in touch with your heart and where your heart and head are not in alignment, and you do need to do the inner work to come back into alignment. For the group that is coming into sacred union, safety and intimacy, clear communication, a lot of things are going to make sense when you start opening up to each other and having these very safe connection conversations. It's all going to make sense real soon. To compare notes and see each other's experience in this journey is what I'm hearing. Emotions, regret. I know that I cannot change the past. That's in the inverse. So we can do better today based on what we've learned from the past. And that's how we add gratitude to what has come before. Homage. Yeah, so there's going to be this very conscious appreciation for things that have come before. How we got here. For the couples that are going to be communicating on this sacred level. Safety and intimacy. And energetically, golden potentiator, quickening exponential expansion. So once these kick off, the world is going to be blessed through these connections. That's all I have to say about that. All right, many blessings, everyone. Bye for now.